room, the only way to start your day.
We expect development whereby we have queries about money that is missing that has quite obviously not gone towards development. Can it be a thing?
No, we can't. No, we cannot. Because remember, we can only get towards development by prudent use of resources. Remember, resources are not finite. You know what I mean? So how well are you using the little that you have for you to get maximum benefits out of it? It can be that today we're talking about 11 billion shillings in Mombasa. What would that 11 billion shillings do in the health sector? 5 billion shillings, 5 million shillings for a party. What would that 5 million shillings do in terms of development or to improve on service delivery for Mwananchi? If we are not using our funds well, development, you will never see it even if it's by the window. It's that plain and simple.
The questions that we continue to ask around where funds go that are supposed to be meant for certain things to be done, how then does it rock up to the accountability factor when you look at where the country is going in terms of development? That we should then be able to put every shilling towards something. But then, of course, brings in that debt question that is really, really hot on our minds in terms of, okay, well, if you're paying so much in debt and you have very little left to be absorbed then for towards development after you then pay salaries and wages, can you really say that you'll be accountable to the people of Kenya then when it comes to accountability for development? These are some of the questions that we ask in terms of what is happening, where it's being done, and how it is actually happening. That we shouldn't be afraid to demand for accountability. And that's one of the things that absolutely must happen.
And there are also agencies that are mandated with ensuring that accountability doesn't happen, actually get to do their job. That no one is playing that tune simply because they pay. You know what I mean? Yes.
Anne Moratha joins us this morning, and a very good morning to you. Mheshimiwa, thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're going to start off today. I mean, we had a little bit of an intro to the conversation. Dennis he goes around the African continent every week, comes back from a different country with its proverbs. We'd love to get your interpretation of this proverb.
As today we are in Botswana, a country that is rich in diamonds, and the revenue that is gotten from these diamonds is invested into education. It is also a country that has the highest population of elephants in the world, 130,000. But that 70% of the country is actually a desert, Kalahari Desert, in the country. But let's go to the proverb today. So the proverb, a child can pass through a lion's hole. A child can pass through a lion's hole. How would you interpret that?
A child can pass through a lion's hole?
Yes.
What would that really mean?
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. And remember, your interpretation is right. It can never be wrong.
Yes. A child can go through
a lion's hole.
A lion's hole. If I would literally interpret it in my own small way of thinking, is that a child would not know the dangers of going through a hole of a lion. A child will not interpret that the lion could be dangerous to their lives. A child believes in everything that they see around and believes that they are safe in their hands. So in that hole, a child, where I would not even want to be near, a child would be there looking at the lion and maybe wanting to go through where the lion had gone through also and experience the same.
Because of the innocence there.
Because of the innocence, yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
Sure. Of course, the innocence speaks for quite a lot. Let's look into this accountability question that Kenyans want to continually put, government, people in specific spaces to account. What would be your overall view at the moment in terms of how development is actually taking place in the country? We can use Kiambu as an example and use that to extrapolate into different parts of the country. But what would be your assessment of how things are going so far?
My assessment of what is happening in Kenya today is that we've gotten so many wrongs since independence. As a country, we never sat to plan. Like now, if I would look at the issue of our education, we've really gone through so many wrongs over the years. In terms of development since independence, we have gotten it wrong. And I would not speak just because I'm in the Kenya Kwanza administration, but I just want to say is that we've gotten so many things wrong. And when President William Ruto came to power, he came with the promise of fixing the country. Fortunately or unfortunately, he decided to fix all at once. And this has been taking the wrong direction, and it needs to be fixed. And now the problem we are having as a country or as an administration is that people naturally don't like changes. People don't like moving from what they know. People are comfortable in their zones where they are seated. And so when the government just comes in and things have to be changed, things have to take this direction, it's like there is a lot of resistance. But again, I can say, if you look at what is happening today, it may not be as bad as it was in 2023 and 2024, because it's like now Kenyans have started an understanding that the changes that are being made in the country are not meant for to hurt anyone, but to make the country better. Right now, if I would look at the issues of infrastructure, we've never seen what we are seeing happening in the country today. Roads being fixed all over the country. It has never happened that it is happening all over the country. At first, there was a story that it's a lie. It might never be fixed. And Kenyans were made to believe that it will not be fixed and it will not be made, because these stories have always been there with politicians over the years. And now people have started now seeing what is happening in the country today. And a few of them now have started like, wait a minute, let's see whether it comes to happen.
Ashmi, one would ask the question then. You said when President William Ruto took over power, he wanted to fix the country, and he fixed everything all at once. In all these things that the president has been fixing, which is this one thing that he has fixed and is actually working at optimum?
I would first say, like now, if you listen to Kenyans, the first thing they are complaining about is about education. And I would want to ask, not because I'm just in the Kenya Kwanza administration, but still on a human point of view, I would say there was a time I was on a program here, and I said that I have seen Kenya's administration not planning for future, and especially in issues of education. And I said I was a victim of the first 844, when the first 844 system started. Is that in 1985? And I sat for KCPE in 1985, the first KCPE lot. And I can tell you, when we went to Form 1, it was all chaotic in the country. When we went to Form 1, there was no Form 2. When we went to Form 2, there was no Form 3. When we went to Form 3, there was no Form 4. When we went to Form 4, there was no Form 5. And in 1989, there was Form 4 and Form 6 and a double intake to the university. And that's when we messed the system of this country. I'm saying the education of this country was messed in our time. When we did Form 4 and there was a Form 6 class, there was still no preparation in the university for the intake in the university. So what I'm saying is that we also came in with the issue of CBC. We talked about it for many years, but it's like people are still not very prepared for the same. So when we talk of the president has messed the education, I almost want to ask, what is messing the education? Because in record, it has never happened. This administration has employed a whole 125,000 teachers. In record, that has never happened since independence in this country. There has never been such a number of teachers employed. Because you realize that there was that issue of who is going to take over this issue, because it's coming in with its own dynamics. And 125,000 teachers have been employed. The other thing is that the Ministry of Education has put up over 30,000 classes to be able to incorporate the new system, which was there. People are there and talking about it, but as a country, it's like many a times we are caught up like we were never prepared. It's not like it's us who talked about it.
Then one would say that despite the fact that you were there, KCPE, President William Ruto has been there as the same KCPE was being involved. And in 2026,
he was a Minister of Education
at some point. And in 2026, if we are going through the same problems that happened in the 1980s, one would say nothing has really changed. That even as the president is trying to fix it, nothing has changed. We've never learned anything when it comes to rectifying and dealing with the education problems. Because today, even as we sit here today, grade 10s do not have textbooks.
Yes.
Yet they're about to go for midterm. As we speak today, JSS teachers are saying we need permanent and pensionable because the agreement they got in with the government has not been respected to date. Are we fixing the education system? Many Kenyans would say, I'm sorry, no, we're not. We're messing it up.
I would quote Dr. Edda Gashukia one time when President Kibaki came to power in 2002, and he said that there has to be, and every child has to go to school. And people went to school, and there were so many crises in all our schools. And I remember this scholar called Edda Gashukia saying, I am loving the crisis. The fact that somebody who wanted an opportunity to be there is already there. Let's deal with the crisis when they are all there, because there's somebody's life that is going to be changed in this crisis. I would also want to quote the same, that grade 10, we are just beginning. And anything that begins has all the crises. They are teething problems. And you know, Africans have come to a way of doing things last minute. It's like it's like we have a problem of fixing things very fast and on time. But again, amid all that crisis, we are getting to a place. Why? Because right now we cannot talk that we have a problem of teachers. Let's where credit is. Let's give credit. We are not now having a problem.
We have a problem
we
with
have
teachers
we have solved.
who have not been retooled. We have a problem with teachers who are not ready for these kids. We have a problem of an education system where 1 million students at the end of it all will not be of any benefit to the country, because today, even based on the research that you are seeing, is that a grade 10 cannot solve problem meant for grade 3. We have a problem with the education sector. I'm sorry.
I don't know when you say they are not retooled, because the other day I went to Alliance Girls High School, and I was talking to the principal, and I asked her, I had time to talk to her, and I asked her, how prepared are you people for whatever is happening amidst all this crisis? And she told me, the teachers have been retooled as we've set the bar and it's rolling, and we're going forward, and we want to believe that we're going to catch up with whatever we are supposed to catch up.
Yes. I'm sorry. If you'll allow me to interject.
Yeah.
The example that you give is a fraction of a particular category of schools in the country, which, by the way, if you look into deeply, the school fees is largely buffered by parents in that particular institution. And that they are able to do the things they do is not as a result of a huge government ministry involvement, but a significant contribution by the secondary stakeholders, in this case being parents. Now, if we look at what the Ministry of Education has done over time, the cluster schools are in the majority. And you will not be able to apply what you've just said to the majority cluster schools who should be intaking a lot of these students. I'm sorry. But the true face of a system is in the most vulnerable in that particular system. So we cannot say things are better if we are looking at a situation whereby one of the pathways that we offer is STEM. We have a 37% deficit of science teachers in this country.
Yes.
Even with the hiring of the 125,000 students, teachers that you talk about. So we can hire them, but we will not be able to say we've done better if we cannot look at the impact that they have had on our students. So when we see a report that comes out in January and tells us that 30% is the maximum we hit of grade 6 students who can read and write, we've got a problem. But then if we are saying that capitation is sent to schools, when it's sent, never complete, reduced over time, this is a circular issue. So if we're saying that there was a problem in the 1960s, there was a problem in the 1980s, there was a problem in the 2000s, and there's still a problem in 2026, this is a heavy indictment, not just on this administration, administrations across board. But it cannot be that we continue to say, well, since it was a problem then, it's a problem now, so we're getting better. No. There was an entire presidential working party that went across the country, used taxpayers' funds to bring out these problems and said, this is what we're going to fix. The problem is that we talk shop very well, but in terms of implementation, there's a problem. And one of the ways towards solving a problem is accepting that the problem exists. Can we do that? Is it possible?
I think it's also good to accept that at least something is being done to fix the problem, because last week we had a retreat in Naivasha.
Whereby the majority of the House, the majority said very clearly, if anybody, the majority leader was clear that there's a problem here and called people who sit in that ministry incompetent. And the country resonated with what he said because that's the case.
And that's what I'm just about to say, that would talk of people being held accountable of what they're supposed to do. Because like now, you remember we had the CS and the PS education in Naivasha that day. And I remember the majority leader telling the PS, we do not understand why parents keep complaining, all what you have asked us to do for this ministry in the parliament, we have done it for you. Then we hear parents keep complaining, and yet you're still seated in your office in Nairobi, not reaching out to go and know what is happening. Because as I have said, we have had problems that have been so much entrenched. You know, like the issues of corruption in this country has been so entrenched in so many institutions in this country, such that every administration that comes has a problem of dealing with some issues that are so much that have been so much entrenched in the years in this country. So what we are saying is, we are not holding everybody accountable. It is like in Kenya, every morning we wake up, the only person we see has not performed is the president. But you see, when the president gives direction, there are people who are supposed to implement what he has directed to do. But you see, every morning, like now, if you come to, let me talk about myself in Kiambu County. I think the woman rep, or the kitty that is given to the woman rep, is the smallest amongst all that is given to all the leaders. But again, I say, 100 million for Kiambu County is not little money. You cannot call that little money. It is money that is supposed to be seen and to be heard. Yet, you will not hear people talk about it. It is like every morning we wake up, we have a governor who is working with a 12 billion budget. And it's also he's supposed to also be held accountable. We have an MP who also have the same money, who is supposed to be held accountable. But you see, it is like every morning, our focus is just on what did the president do. But you see, when he gave instructions, when he gives his vision, there are people that are supposed to drive this vision. Like now, the issue of this CBC, there are people who are supposed to be running day and night to fix what is supposed to be fixed, because we are going into a completely new system that has never been there. And you see, CBC is so much than all the systems that we have had. It is so much on the issues of it's competence based, and there is a lot of practical. So people need to actually be on the ground now, making sure that these things work. And this is why the president has gone ahead and instructed, let's employ more teachers. Even if we do not have more, at least we need to appreciate that something has started, because having employed 125,000 teachers is still something. And we are still insisting that even the 125,000 is still not enough, considering that we have a deficit over the years.
Do you know why Kenyans wake up every day and blame the president?
Yes.
Because the buck stops with him.
Yes.
Why? The president has given a direction on a policy issue that needs to be implemented.
Yes.
The president has given an order, hire 105,000 new teachers, ensure that education sector does work. And if that directive that has been given by the president has not been implemented, the president has another card, has another wild card. The president can get rid of individuals he has appointed and replace them with people who can deliver. If the president fails to get rid of individuals who are letting him down, I am sorry, but even him, because the buck stops with him, he is considered to have failed. Perhaps it's information that you can take back to him. Spice said so. He needs to get rid of individuals who do not perform in the education sector for education to work as it is. But I still go back to my earlier question. The president is trying to fix everything at the same time. which is the one thing among the many that is trying to fix that is working or that has worked based off the scorecard?
I do not know what you mean that has worked, because I think the whole thing is a process. When we talk about fixing education, where we have just started, it's just a process. When we start talking about fixing fixing health, we have just started with SHA. It is still a process. When we are fixing the infrastructure, when we fix the infrastructure, it fixes almost every other thing. When we have good roads, then we are sure so many things start happening. All these things are in the process. So I don't know what you mean by it works, because then we want to say, like now we say we want to fix the problem that we have had on Naivasha Mau Summit. We have had a big problem. Then you cannot tell me, has he fixed it? Because it's only starting.
I'm going to give you an example.
Give me an example.
Let's go to health. 140 billion shillings spent on SHA. Kenyans bought into it. 22 million Kenyans are registered into it. Only 3 million are paying. And as we talk about that, then one asks the question, what is the government's prerogative in ensuring that all the 22 million Kenyans are paying? But that notwithstanding, that if a seto today goes to hospital, I will get services, and that service will work. Because the situation is, many Kenyans out there are saying we go to hospital, but SHA is not working. So one asks the question, if the president is implementing healthcare, because when you talk about healthcare, if I'm sick today, I'm not waiting for the process. I want to be treated today. Is it working? For Kenyans who've not managed to get services, is it working for them?
SHA works for the sick. Those that talk SHA is not working are not sick. They are complaining that SHA is not working. When anyone who tells me they've been to hospital, the first thing I ask them, is SHA working? Did SHA work for you? And they say it did work. I've not had anyone telling me it didn't work. The only people who tell me it doesn't work are people who've not gone to the hospital. Personally, I've not been to the hospital. Thank God I've not been sick to go and ask whether SHA will work for me. But every time I meet anyone who has been to hospital, I will ask them the first question. The other day, one of my staff was sick and went to hospital. And the first thing she told me, I am back home. I told her, did SHA pay anything for you? Or you did pay for yourself? She said the charges was 10,000. They paid 9. So I only parted with 1,000. So I will not absolutely say that it is 100%, because then I would be lying. But then I would say, whenever you go into a new place, there always has to be teething problems. There will always be teething problems. And all these problems will be there. But eventually, they will be solved and they will continue being sorted out.
And I think the pain point is that eventually that we're talking about, because even these teething problems for a child, you must know this, that by the time the tooth proceeds from the gum, it protrudes from the gum, the teething problems cease to exist.
Yes.
The child will grow.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But that also is a milestone that must be achieved. And we cannot continue to say at some point it will get better, at some point it will get better. Because in the meantime, there continue to be all these issues that are indicators of regressive development. So then one must ask, we can continue singing the song in terms of it's getting better. And this is the thing. For the longest time, the Unga narrative and the fertilizer narrative was thrown at everybody. When we ask, okay, so how do we do? Oh, we brought down the price of unga and we brought down the price of fertilizer. Okay, fantastic. But then what does that do to the person who still only has 100 shillings to do everything that they must do, including buy that unga? In terms of the power for Kenyans to spend, that has reduced significantly, and we must look at these things. So now I want to ask the question of development vis-a-vis the things that we see across board. This week has been monumental in terms of the monies that we are being told that cannot be accounted for across the country. We see lavish spending. We see the inability for county governments to give the committees reasonable justification for monies having been put up for very interesting things. Whether we like it or not, it points back to leadership. We can say it's not me or I wasn't there. And we talk about a situation that's already boiling over. Is the situation to throw more people at it? Like, the example that you give about teachers. Is the solution to throw people at the problem, or is it to pick apart the problem and say, where have we gone wrong? Let us see how we can fix it. Are we jailing the corrupt? Are we investigating them? Are we saying all this money that has been lost, where is it going? The roads that we talk about, okay, it's going to take a minute to fix that. And I actually agree that as a student of development, I know very well that one of the things that begets development is development itself. That I have to look at the thing and say, this is actually working. But if I don't have indicators, it makes it very difficult for me to say that I can see the progress. And this is what Kenyans are asking, to say, okay, how long are we going to have to wait?
We have to. It is going to take the long that Kenyans will take to change. We have developed a culture as a nation, where we feel everything in this life has to have shortcuts. We got to have a shortcut, and every one of us believe we got to have a shortcut. Like now, when we talked of the issue of money lost in SHA, and a lot of money, and it was in the headlines in the newspapers last week, and the CS Health comes to Naivasha, and everybody is on his case and tell us what happened. And you listen to the story. It's a whole combination of Kenyans and the routes that we want to take. These are hospitals that have charged things that they have not, services that they have not rendered. These are people that talk of somebody who has given birth to so many children within 1 month so that they can just claim this money, because we have developed a culture as Kenyans. And as we are saying, it is now being spoken about all over. And I'm saying, we thank God because of all these things that are happening in the country, including the media houses, including all those questions that people are being questioned, and the direction that the country is taking now is going to warn everybody that where we are headed, you're going to be held accountable. Why? Because we have all these gadgets that are now giving everybody every information. So anybody who has been thinking that you can hide in the disguise of your name, you can disguise in the name of where of the job description that you have, and you can hide there and do things and nobody will talk about them. The beauty of everything is that everything now is in the limelight. People can be able to access information. People can be able to access what is happening in Parliament. People can be able to access what is happening in the judiciary, and people are able to question. And when people realize that they are going to be held accountable, this is when they start changing. But I can only say the culture that has been in this country is that culture where nobody wants to be held responsible. And I want to say, even I say it even as a woman rep, with the little kitty that I'm given of 8 million per constituency per year, you still cannot say it's money you cannot account for. It is money that you need to be held accountable and explain what you have done with that money. But you see now, we have come into a culture where nobody expected to be questioned about anything. The one thing I would appreciate is that we have had all this information that is now on internet. Everybody can be questioned. You can see what is happening in the judiciary. You can see what is happening in the Parliament, and you are able to see what is happening in all the ministries, because you see even the media and the public were able to see what is happening in SHA, and they were able to hold the CS accountable of what is happening in SHA. So what I'm saying is, what you people are doing, what this internet has done to our people, is that everybody now can get information and everybody now can be held responsible. So even a governor acting in a county and maybe assuming because you are the one who is there, nobody will question you. The next day, you will see yourself seated someplace and being asked questions of things you never even knew that people got to know about what you did. So one thing I would say is that change is going to change all of us, because all of us have come into that culture where we became a country that no longer cares. Even when somebody, it's a Kenya of kitu kidogo, and every one of us has grown in that kitu kidogo, such that when you go to an office and you're given a service and you're not asked for kitu kidogo, you feel like the service is not complete. Because we have come into a culture where everybody expects something. To a point that you go to the villages and you ask somebody for a road to some place. And the moment they tell you, ukienda hivi, utokea hivi, utatokea hapo, unatoa nini?
Why do you think that is? I'm just curious as to why do you imagine that's the problem?
We have come, we developed a culture as a nation of kitu kidogo everywhere. And you see, it started and it became like it is part of our lives. And until our people, and until all of us start changing our way of doing things. And how do we change? By now what is happening now. That you can call me as a leader and question me. You can ask me. Like next time you call me, ask me, Wamrada, you've been given a whole 100 million for Kiambu County for this year. Can you tell us what you have done with that money? That there is a place I can be held accountable. That somebody today can stand in Kiambu County and question what I have been doing with the kitty that I've been getting as the woman rep. That somebody in the Senate can agree to call the governor to come and explain. And this is what is going to nobody wants to be embarrassed time and again. Today, as we speak, the former governor of Kiambu is in prison. Who would have ever imagined a governor can be in prison? And not to say if the governor, the type of Waitito, who moved from one constituency to another, getting elected, and now to a governor, and now in prison. So when you people start saying that what is being done, that's a lesson to people that watch this space. A lot is going to happen in the world that we are going into, because the generation that is coming now is not going to entertain this nonsense. We are going into places where people now need to understand that the moment you are given a responsibility to work for the nation, you either do it right or you leave it.
So
because it's going to get back to you.
Okay. So then do you agree that the way things are going at the moment, you're saying the generations that are coming are not going to accept it? So that means that there's something that's not quite going right.
There's something
right
that
now.
has been wrong over time. Since independence, there are things we've been getting wrong as a country.
So do you think
but you see, with the development that is happening, the generation that is here just after us, that is holding us now accountable. Those of us that now have come from those generations of tribalism, my nation, my people, my tribe, we are now coming with a generation that does not even know who their tribe is. Them, they're just Kenyans. So as they are holding us accountable, wachana hiyo mambo yako ya Wakikuyu, wachana hiyo mambo yako sijui ya sisi Wajaruo. This generation is a generation of Kenya that is going to protect their own people. And out of this, you have seen the government acting. I've told you our governor, our former governor of Kiambu County is in prison. And that is a sign that even us who are in offices, you do not know what comes in tomorrow. Just do what you are doing today. But from the systems and you people need to appreciate that something is being done, and where we are headed with all the information around here and on the internet, people will have to style up.
Where we have a lot of information as well.
Yes.
Is the Auditor General's report.
Yes.
And Auditor General's report comes out every other time, and
Yes.
it is delivered before Parliament.
Yes.
And Parliament is supposed to go through that report, indictment, and also just find out how these monies were spent.
Yes.
But as we speak today, we see little to no movement from Parliament with regard to ensuring that public fund is spent as expected. One asks the question, has Parliament let down Kenyans when it comes to ensuring prudent use of resources?
Okay. The Auditor General has been giving all these reports, and sometimes there are things that that you see in Parliament. Like now, there were all those trips that used to be in Parliament. If today you ask me as a member of Parliament how many trips I went last year, I only traveled once. Why? Because every trip that is taken in Parliament today has to be explained why and where you were going and what benefit will it be to this country. Me, as a member of Parliament, I'll tell you I only went for one trip the whole of last year. So some of these things may not be in the limelight, but they are being said. This report will still come to the office of the Auditor General. So be careful of what you are doing, because you cannot keep spending money going for unnecessary trips and that you cannot account for. But you see, if the Speaker or the Clerk of the National Assembly tells you people that the only trip that you need to travel is a trip that is beneficial to the country, you need to explain. Your committee needs to tell us why you have to travel and of what benefit this trip is going to bring to the country. I will not come to you and say, Najua tulikatazwa kwenda safari because to Kenyans that is the way it should be. But you see, why is this happening? It is because now people have either to style up or the consequences are coming. People now know that there are consequences coming.
Oh, they didn't know before that there are consequences to
They
misusing
knew,
public funds?
They knew, but people knew. But as I have told you, we have come up over with a culture because you people have also lived in this country. They have developed a culture where nobody cared. Like if we talk about schools, all of you are talking about the Ministry of Education, you talk about the CSS, you talk about the CSS. No one wants to talk of the businesses that have been running in high schools, where the principals, the high school principals have had deals with business people.
I want to talk
to
about
make sure.
This is part of the thing that we're talking
No,
about.
I'm only now saying how everybody have had their share of doing things the wrong way because nobody is asking them. You look at the school principals insisting that a businessman will bring all his goods in the schools, and they will be sold to parents, even things that parents don't need, and they will be sold, and the parents would part with 35,000-40,000, and it's a deal between the principal and the business people out there. Why? Because nobody talked about it. But now that everybody is raising an alarm, why should we pay? Why is there business in school? Why would I not walk to town, buy this uniform at 3,000? Why should I come and buy it in school at 7,000? So what we are saying is that we have been getting it wrong, all of us. And now it is a time that it is now being spoken about, one by the media houses.
Is there a reason why Parliament is slow in addressing issues and reports from the Auditor General's report?
I would say, as I have said from the beginning, the issue has been the culture that we have come in through. I would only say, as a member of Parliament, sometimes you will listen to those issues and they want to be discussed in Parliament, but you see, they get... they may not come to the plenary for people to discuss them and what is happening. But again, they will be said within the committees, and like this will have to be looked at. What is this that we didn't get right? What is this that we are doing wrong? Why is this not being done right? Meaning, when it continues happening, then it becomes a crime, because right now in the committees,
No,
It is already a crime.
It's a crime when it happens the first time.
it is a crime.
But
you
this
see-
is the problem. We cannot continue. We can't say, I'm sorry, Mheshimiwa, if you'll allow me to ask this question. We can't say that when something monumentally goes wrong, we'll say, well, okay, we can ignore it. But if it happens 3 or 4 times, then it's a crime? Absolutely not. If there is a chance that one Kenyan has died because there was not enough money for medicine in a hospital, and we can trace that money has gone into somebody's pocket, and a child has died, that's a crime. But then now we want to say, okay, well, let's let it happen 6 or 7 times, and then we can pay attention to it. That's the fundamental problem, that we are turning a blind eye to these things and expecting that by some flash of a magic wand somewhere, somebody is going to account for these things. No. This is a problem.
But just as I have told you, this culture is so much entrenched in our people that it has come to a realization to people that after all, nothing happens and nothing will happen, because we have not seen any consequences to anyone who has done all this in the past. But just as I am telling you and I have told you, people have not been questioned in the past. But the direction we are taking, I am sure even some people who are being cautioned now, this is not right. You don't do things this way. In future, these things are going to catch up with some people. As I have told you, Waitito left Kiambu many years back. But he was only jailed after he was out here and maybe assuming that all was well. So what I'm praying to our people is that in whatever we do today, let us know that the judicial system does not die. It will still come catching up with some people. So as you are being cautioned on the things you are doing, as I have told you from the beginning, and let me underline this, I told you we have come from a culture since independence, a culture that gets things wrong in this country. And a time came when things have just to be fixed. And things have just to work right. We just have to do things the way they are supposed to be done. And and the fact that now people are being held accountable of everything that they are doing. I am looking at us even in the future, people fearing elective positions. I am looking at a future where people will fear going for elective positions. Because if you know that your way of life, your way of doing things will not be straight, you will know that your next place is going to be in prison in a very near future from the direction this country is taking. And actually, I think we need to appreciate something that from the way Kenya is moving, even comparing with what has happened in the past, we can also say that the direction we are taking, people very soon are going to be held accountable for everything that they have been entrusted by the public.
You know, I want to look at this in terms of issues that you're talking about. So we talk about development that is happening in the country and that you're fixing roads. But one would hope that we should be at a position where when we do something today, we do something once and we do it right instead of revisiting it, because we are giving room for mistakes to happen, then fix them as we move.
Yes.
Why do I say that? Because if I am constructing a road today from here to Mombasa, I expect that that road is of standard,